what is it you people really want to hear? Sylvester Stallone says life's not all sunshine and rainbows, and he's right. There's always things that are going to kick you down and bring you around, and people always say, well, what makes a winner from a loser? Somebody getting up. How many times do you think everybody gets hit? It's whether you go and face the hits in life. How much you can take and keep going, that's how winning is done, and everybody knows that. But when we lose, and we say we're losing, we keep losing, we say, what the hell are we doing this for anymore? Losing only lasts for so long. Things in life only last for so long. And heart only lasts for so long. Everything goes sooner or later. It angers me. I see this next generation that say they got to work twice as hard as what everybody else had to work back in the 20s and 30s, and it's true. They got to work 4 jobs just to have anything. Because they're not obeying the Constitution. People forget they got the right to contract. That means you got the right to ask for better wages. You got a right to have a safe work environment. You got a right to confront the boss and say, hey man, this is what's going on and this is the way it should be. People don't want to talk about the way it should be. They only want to talk about what they believe is good for their bottom line, their dollar. The dollars of everyone out here, man. When you're a corporation, all you care about is hey man, can I make enough money to keep my business going, pay my employees, and pay myself? Okay, that's great. But you want the best employees, you've got to treat them like gold. You've got to have meetings with them and say, hey man, we know where this is going down or that's going down, but we're all a team here and we're doing great. And you know what? We're not going to fire everybody just because it's easy to fire somebody. It's easy to fire anybody. You could say, hey, you're hired, then hey, you're fired. What about giving people chances and letting people prove themselves? So it takes a little longer. Everybody knows what it takes. But what does everybody do? Some people think it should be handed to them. Because they've never had to work a hard day's worth of work in their whole lives. You know, the only way that anybody gets good at doing anything is to work at it. Again and again and again, and that's what makes you really good at it. That's what separates these other branches of the military. That's what separates our snipers. That's what separates our special forces. How hard are these guys willing to work at it again and again and again until it's perfect? It's not practicing for a game. It's not practicing because you want to. It's not practicing because it's easy. You're practicing and you're doing it for yourself so that you know for yourself that you can survive and live in any environment and thrive and adapt and overcome. Special Forces teaches so many things. The military teaches so many things. Everybody says, oh, Special Forces, Special Forces. What about the average guy who just goes through boot camp, goes through the service, and does his job? Is he any less important than the Special Forces guy out there risking his ass? No. They're all heroes because they're all doing the same thing. They're defending us when we sleep at night. They're putting their ass on the line so that when I go to sleep, there's a man over there fighting with a rifle for my freedom or guarding this country with a rifle so I can sleep comfortably. But you got civilian police and they walk around, oh, we're scared. Well, you know what? You should be scared. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're too scared to be a police officer, then don't be one. Well, everybody's got to do something for a living. You know what that something is? Help the people first. That's your job. So you find the bad guy, you nail the bad guys, and we nail a few, and then everybody says, life sentence. Oh, let's lock them up. I say that everybody should have to work for their freedom. I say that every prison in America should be so fucking hard and tough that when them people come out of there, they say, I never want to go back. And how long should a life sentence be? Everybody says 20 years, 20 years. What about 5 or 10 of the hardest, most brutal conditions that you could imagine for physical labor? All day long. Till they want to cry, till they want to puke, till they can't take no more. We break them down. And we remind them every day of why they're here. You're there because you broke the law. You're there because you need punishment. You're there because this is what it is. And they sign their rights away. So if they die, we're not responsible for them people. They should be exercised to death. They show up how great an exercise they get inside the prison yards. Well, imagine if they had to run 20 hours a day, every single day, with logs, with chains, with people pushing them, saying it's not over. I want to hear why you're here. Remind them people why they're there. You know why we have all these so-called supermax? Because these people can't behave and they can't be trusted with knives, forks, spoons. You line them up, and you beat the shit out of them a little bit. Everyone in that prison gets the shit beat out of them just a little bit, to where everybody gets lined up. They get told one time, this is the way it is. This is prison. This is not a vacation. It's not a fun fucking place to be. But he says, well, it's all about hits, and you hear from people in prison that beat up people and try to make so much trouble. Well, if you're too busy to get in any trouble, there won't be no trouble. Because the guards should be lining them up daily, saying you will exercise until you want to die. You just want to die. That way, when they come out of there, sure, they might be big and strong and look all tough, but they'll never want to go back. See, these people come out of prison, they don't have no job skills, they don't have any jobs waiting for them, they don't have anything, they don't have a home to go to. So the state should pick up a little bit of that. And each state should say, okay, well, you did a crime in this state, guess what? We'll allow you to live in this state, but we're not going to just let you off the chain that easy. We're not going to register you as a violent offender. We're not going to do none of that shit. Your debt's paid to society. If you come back again, third time you die. 3 strikes, you die. Got to stop all that shit. Instead of being in a life prison, you die. They'll be saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to have to go back to that ever again. These prisons are not soft. They're just meant with big bullies that run around in their great big muscular things, and the guards are too afraid to say, hey, we're in charge of this son of a bitch. And them guards in them prisons should be tough. Should be all military tough, and they should be exercising. They should be having it so hard that they say never again. And they should all have their heads shaved. They should all look the same. They should have no rights. This is prison, I'm meaning, not county jail for like a little 45 or misdemeanors or anything. This is like you get a 10 or 15 year sentence, you do a 20-year stretch or something like that now. We'll give you a choice. You can do 10 years or you can do 20. But you're going to earn your freedom. You're going to have days when you cry and you break down in tears and say, I don't want to do this no more. Well, why did you do the crime to begin with? Why? And prisoners, all they want to do is fight, fight, fight. Well, we can take the fight out of them. Because I guarantee you, if I owned a big fucking prison yard, none of them prisoners would ever want to fight, because we don't have to fight. Okay, so you want to fight? Cool. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to have everyone in that prison stand out there and be punished. All as one. Every time there's a fight, everyone in that prison pays the price for it. Pretty soon the inmates should get the idea, no more fighting. Don't fight. Just do what you're told. And what I mean by that is if you had to run prisoners for 50 miles, 100 miles in a circle all day long because one person was fighting, oh, you got a gay problem? Well, guess what? We'll deal with that. We'll castrate you. First time you touch another prisoner, you're castrated. Not only that, you only get 3 strikes. You go back to prison, it's 3 strikes. No longer a life sentence, death sentence. I'm tired of people that can't learn. I was in prison for so long, my mind is warped. I'm in a little bitty cell. Fuck that. They're leaving people in cells because they don't think they can be trusted. Well, you know what? We don't need to do that no more. Take them people out of them cells and work them to death. By the time that they're done, they'll say, I don't want to be in prison. I don't want to do this no more. They take people's lives. They take people's time, and the ones that do robberies or murders or whatever the hell their crime is, they need to be punished accordingly. And you rape a little girl, you die. Especially if you're a serial rapist, because you'll never stop, and we shouldn't have to pay to put you in a cell forever. I think that's more cruel than the usual punishment than most people think. You get a choice. That should be the choice of the judge. Every time it comes up, Judge, this is the choice that we want the prisoner to make. And ask the prisoner what he thinks his sentence should be. Life or death. You screw up on one of these programs, you instantly go to death row and you're hanged. Like I said again, you screw up on one of these rigged programs, you're instantly put back on a death row system and you're hanged. In front of everyone so they see it. So everybody gets the idea that, hey, we're going to have calm, quiet, respectful fucking prisons and you're just going to do your time. You're not going to rape anybody, you're not going to beat on anybody, you're not going to shank anybody, you're not going to have time to stab anybody. You ain't even going to have time to do anything except what we tell you. And ain't putting a person in a cell for 23 hours a day. That doesn't make them low. That's violent. That makes them more crazy. That's cruel and unusual punishment as far as I'm concerned. Death is more humane than that. And that's the way we got to start being. See, every time I talk about something, people are already thinking, well, what do I want? I don't want nothing. What do you think I need? I don't need nothing from nobody. I don't want you to subscribe to this channel just because you think you want to be here. If you don't like what I have to say, then don't listen. But if you do like what I have to say, then subscribe, and maybe you might learn a hell of a lot more things than you realize. What makes a great hunter from an exceptional hunter? Do you know? The exceptional hunter, he works at it all his life. every day for hours. He works at sharpening his knives. He works at finding the animals. He works at honing his skills. He works at everything so that when he does go take an animal, he feels that pride, that precision of, I did everything right. It's like a martial artist. How many hours a day does a real martial artist work out? What, 1 or 2 hours? No. He does it every day for 10, maybe 12, 14, 18, 20 hours a day, and he'll show the same move over and over and over till he understands that move. And he'll do it not just one time, not a million times, as many times as it takes until he has that move mastered. What's the difference between somebody that's going to fight and somebody that's never fought? The people that are tough, they don't go around saying, hey, I want trouble. They say, just leave me alone. Get away from me. And they don't even have to say it all the time because they're jacked up, they're built, they're strong, they're able, and they know that they could hurt the other person. Hurting someone is easy. Killing someone is real easy because all they do is take an extension, a tool, a firearm, bang, it's over. It's sad. Do we need gun control? No, but do we need common sense control? Yes. It's not a gun problem, it's a people problem. When we go into schools, should we be screening our people with psychologists and people talking to all the people that are mentally ill? You bet your ass. But do we have psychologists all over in our schools? No. Do we have our parents every once a week checking in on their kids with their teachers? No. Used to be that way when I was a kid. Hey, we're going to have once a week teach-parents conferences. Because we want to know what you're teaching our children. What are they learning about? Are they learning the right way? Are they learning the right stuff? Are they being protected? Are they being looked after? Are they being grown to do a better society? The student is only as good as the teacher. In the Marine Corps, they teach one shot, one kill. Not a wound, not a miss. And the reason they teach that is because they don't want enemies abroad pissed off because, oh well, you don't want the Marines to see them incompetent. And they're not. But there's been a lot of misses in combat. Anybody that's ever been in combat will tell you, hey man, spray and pray doesn't work. We got to kill this son of a bitch. Anybody that's been a real sniper will tell you, hey man, I can make the shot no matter what because I have to. And there's no... But what do they do to make that shot? Does anybody know? Does they work at it for months, years, weeks, every day? Do they tune a rifle and do they sit down at that bench and do they take that rifle more serious than they take their whole life because they know if they miss, they die. They die. Or their fellow person's going to die out there. But they've got to have the mentality that they're willing to die. And never miss the shot. Because the shot only might come once. And that's the difference between real snipers and combat snipers. Combat snipers, they go over there, they see some fucking guy getting his head blown off. They just want to get rid of the son of a bitch before he kills them. The Marines are like that. The Army's like that. The Navy's like that. The Coast Guard's like that. They're all the same, basically, but they got big differences in training. The training is so intense that these people sometimes are like, what the hell am I training this hard for? For what? And then they realize, hey man, there's going to be a reward at the end of this. Hey, I get to be part of an elite group. I get to be part of something that's bigger than me. Forever. Here's my thought. Our military should be 20 weeks long. For the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, all 20 weeks long. To make sure that when these people leave, that they are ready for the next step in their lives, whatever position that they're going to step themselves into. What I mean by 20 weeks long is after the end of the 16th, you get four basic weeks of not training, but schooling. Schooling on something that you should, why you there and what you did and how proud you should be to be who you are. It's hard to love yourself enough to say, hey, this is who I am. I'm willing to put it all on the line. The real heroes are people that give everything and they say, hey man, this is what I believe in. And that's what this whole country needs, is heroes every day standing up and saying, hey, I'm not going to let somebody take my gun rights away because somebody else is stupid. That person's dumb and did something wrong, and there's accountability. But that accountability has to be so hard that them people say, oh my God, we don't need a life sentence program anymore. You know, we ever hear out of a judge is life sentence, oh, till you die. What about, okay, so you did this crime. You're 15, 16, 17 years old, 14 years old. We're going to ship you into the military boot camp. No forgiveness, no mercy. We're going to ship you into like a military boot camp, and you're going to work for your freedom. But it'll be 5 or 10 years. So when you're 23, 24, 25, and you come out of there, you'll be squared away. You'd never ever want to ever do another crime. You never look at life differently. Everybody deserves chances in life. Our prisons are overcrowded with people that have done just silly, stupid shit. And they'll make it, oh, it's a 45-day thing, or 50-day thing, and they say it's just a misdemeanor. Well, if we have real Second Amendment rights, every time I turn around we see somebody, hey, that guy concealed a pistol. That guy's got a firearm. That guy carries a gun with him. Well, shouldn't that be his right and his choice if he wants to carry a gun with him? If he's living in bad gang-infested areas? Or if he's living around heroin and drug addicts that just want to kill you? 9 times out of 10, did them people ever get caught? No. They just say, oh, we'll just keep killing people. Oh, we'll just have the sheriff's department. Oh, the police don't do shit. They got to find out who you are, what you did, and why you did it, and then they got to have you convicted of it. Meanwhile, if they shoot you, you got to go through emergency surgeries, doctor bills, lawyer bills. You got to see this person, you got to go back in court and remember what the person looked like. Let's just say it was you on the other end. And you live. And let's say you just got shot, like, in the arm or something, and you lived, and you know who that person was. And you had to go to a trial. Now you got to be all stitched up at the hospital. Now you got to go to a trial. Now you got to waste your time pointing out some son of a bitch that didn't care about you. Could have killed 3 or 4 other people, let's say. Life sentence, though. But you were not allowed to carry a concealed weapon. You had to wait on the fucking police, and the police are 40 minutes out, 50 minutes out, and they say, oh, we're coming. They go and they charge and they arrest that guy. Big, drawn, long out bullshit thing. It's young punk kids trying to prove how tough they are with a gun. Everything is about, oh my God, I can't live. Well, you know what? We all have a right to live a certain amount of dignity and pride and respect. It makes me sad and sick to my stomach to think that people don't care. You see, when people are fighting, they always got to puff up their chest and say, I'm bigger, I'm better than that, or real men don't do that. Real men, if they're going to fight, they're going to go get it on, and then they're going to find out, hey man, it's over with. It's the way it used to be back when I was a kid, man. You could go up to somebody, punch them in the fucking face, and say, hey man, you're being a bully. Knock that shit off, and if you got your ass whipped or you got beat up at school, you didn't go home crying about it. You looked at your scars like they were glory marks. Hey man, I got my ass whipped. Who cares? Even I, when I was a kid, got my ass beat bad. So I had to go home and I didn't cry about it. I'd be like, hey, I'm fucked up. I'm black eyes. Had to learn. We all learn what it is to fight sometimes. And when a man has to fight, he has to fight. But you got to know when to pick and choose your fights in life. That's what I think about Donald Trump. What have you done here lately, Donald Trump, that says that you're all for the country? So you can sign all the executive orders, but until people get shit rolling and get shit done, they're going to keep blaming you. Kamala Harris, I don't think you were a bad candidate. I don't think that you were the right candidate because you wanted to take my freedom. And that's why you lost. You lost because you didn't do what was right. If you're going to be a real Christian person, how can you support people sleeping with other people? And that's their own private lives. That's their business. But let's not put that stuff on kids. Let's not bring our children into it. Let's not be telling our children it's okay to be gay and this and that. It's always going to be okay to be who you are. I'm not your God. I'm not your jury. I feel sorry for you. Because you didn't have the proper instructions of what people are. You cry and carry on, oh, it's so bad. What's so bad? You can't understand that it's wrong? You know what wrong is? Wrong is wrong and right is right. I'm not the one that gets to judge you at the end of your life. The only one that gets to judge you is God. There is a God. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Isaiah. Everybody says, oh, I'm a prophet, or they want to speak pathetic words. Well, let me speak something into everyone's heart. The Bible's absolute about what it is. God uses everybody to talk to somebody else and talk to them about who you really are. And who are you really? The sadness of my heart has made me mad. Made me angry as a son of a bitch. Because you tried telling these people that, hey, they're doing it wrong, and you know that they should do it right. Why don't they? Why? It's not a game, it's not a joke, it's dead serious. It's kind of like you get two prize fighters in the ring. One wants to do good and one wants to do bad. You let them go at it. The other one, the good guy hits the bad guy. And it's whoever can take the most punches are going to win this thing, right? But I always say it's whoever's got the most heart is always going to win this thing. It's the one that we give the most attention to that always seems to win the fight in life. Whatever wolves you feed in your life are your wolves. There are two wolves fighting each other. Whichever one you feed is up to you. You'll never be as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill, because the wolf on top of the hill has to work twice as hard to get to that top of that hill. And they have to stay hungry, so that's how they survive, and that's how a wolf kills. They get an alpha leader and they kill and they kill and they kill. Anybody that's ever been a real hunter says, ooh, I want to get rid of the alpha wolf. I want to make these wolves go away because they're bad. Everybody's got wolves in their life just like there's real wolves in life. When you work together as a pack of people should, it's easy. This person does this person does that. Everybody comes together, we all win, and we keep winning. A true blue rifleman. Everybody asks me, well, what's a true blue rifleman then? Maybe 1 in 100 million people. Because if I had a sniper school to teach, nobody would be getting through. Until they prove to me that they're willing to die. And you're like, well, how would you do that? Paintball game. Line them up and make them think that they're going to die. So they got it through their heads that, you know what, if we screw up, we die. You only get one chance to do something right in life. One. Same with all things in life. If you do something wrong, okay, so you did something wrong, but you learn from it quickly. And you learn as quick as you can because you don't want to cost anybody else their life. And that's the way these prisons should be operated. Hey, did you see what happened to Skinny over there? Yeah, Skinny got executed in front of all of us. Hey, I don't ever want to do that. Hey, maybe we should just not do that at all. You rape somebody in a prison, you die. You fight with enough people, guess what? We can stop all the fighting. First time it happens, second time it happens, the third time it happens. You know why all these prisons are full with dumbass fucking people? Because they want to be there. I think a lot of them said, well, there ain't nothing else for me to do. Hey, at least I got three squares in the cot, but some of them say, hey man, I wish I never would have done this crime. And they're the ones we should be reaching out to saying, hey man, we can give you second chances. But we come back to our country, United States of America, USA. Donald Trump, what are you doing? Every day you should be asking yourself, what am I doing today? How can I make the American lives be better than what they already are? And when I'm not doing that in the will of the American people, I need to stop and evaluate what everybody else is fighting me. Why are you fighting me on this? That's what everybody should be asking themselves. Hey man, if this makes good sense to help everybody, why the hell are we fighting about this? Stimulus check would have been a great thing, but what about raising Social Security? That would have been a great thing. People are barely making it. I'm included in that group. Because I have such immense anger. My anger is so fucking great because I'm so tired of it. Seems like we're getting played with. Oh, well, I promise. Oh, I'll do something. Oh, I promise we'll do this. Oh, I promise we'll do that. And then you ask, when are you going to keep your promise? When are you going to do this and that? Donald Trump, you've done a lot of things that you said you're going to do, and I respect that. But if you want the glory to have the people really respect you, and you want the glory of God, and you want people to really realize what you're all about, Then help the people first. We, the people, come first. Not what I want it to be. Not what you think it should be. Not how it plays out. We, the people, should always come first. Stephen Colbert. Yeah, you're a communist in your own way. I don't think that you really realize what you did. You said, well, Donald Trump did such a bad thing. Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. They all laugh at the president because they're told, well, you can make fun of our president. You have the freedom of expression, the freedom and the will to do that. That's cool. But before you start spouting off things, why don't you look at the facts and what the facts are? A lot of them people say, well, we shouldn't have an AR-15 because, it's an assault rifle. It looks big, bad, and ugly. And it is an American assault rifle. But it's ours. It was meant for American soldiers. It was meant for everyone in America to have. But there again, people in America, when it comes to mental illness, we're so divided on mental illness that we're not doing much about it. Everybody says, let a doctor decide. No. Let a review board of common sense, like-minded people in your society decide. Not just a doctor, but like a judge of 10 people where you go in, you take a course, you got 10 people lined up, they're going to ask you common sense questions, you're going to take a test, you're going to prove that you're proficient with the firearm, you're going to prove that you understand what it is. See, statistics don't lie. So many crimes have been stopped and prevented by people with guns. Because people said, hell no, I'm not putting up with that. I don't want to die. I don't want to have to hurt nobody. Second, you shoot somebody, you're a criminal. That's the way everybody looks at this, and it's not the way it should be. It should be a big investigation of why did you do it. If this person had a long thing of menacing people with guns or pulling knives or in a gang or doing all that shit, they should let that person go. Say, don't face the consequences. It's like we have states now that say you can do this in one state, but you can't do that in another state. That's why we have a federal law that says that, hey, you are a federal person. You are a person of the United States of America. Our concealed carry laws need to change where you can carry in any state, anywhere, for any reason. Because it's a right, not a privilege. It's not a state's privilege, neither. Everybody in Washington gets so scared. Oh my God, he's got a gun. And the reason a lot of people carrying guns is because they're scared. Thousands of homeless people in Washington, too. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, all wanting a job. Some of them are there because they just want the drugs or they just want to be there in a big city just to start a bunch of shit. They're not being held accountable in these big cities. Think about it, man. You murder one of mine in a big city and you get to run around in another big city and go kill somebody else, or run around in a big city and think, well, I'm in a big city. I'm not going to be noticed. I could just shank or shoot this guy and nobody will say a word. That's really what happens in them big cities. But what would happen if a military band of people showed up and the police and everybody had to work together? But it's illegal. Comitatus under the Constitution says they cannot work together. So what should be the answer then? I know what the police should do. Okay, so we have a homeless problem. We have people out here hurting people. We've got rehab centers that they'll be sent to mandatory for 5 years, 2 years, 3 years. Mandatory. First time around we see you drinking alcohol in a place, you'll get 3 months mandatory in one of these centers. Hey, you're out here acting crazy. Guess what? We're going to see if we can get you some help on some crazy medicine. And you have to go there for a year. See, the people that are out on these streets, they're out there and they're kicking it and they don't have no place to go. They don't have nothing to lose. They don't have nothing to live for. Because they're homeless and they felt like they'd just given up on the bottom of life. But how do we bring them people back? With counseling, with help. And real help is not a homeless shelter. I'm sorry. Real help is we give them a temporary housing, tiny houses. A whole village of tiny houses for people to live in. With a whole new sheriff's community. A homeless sheriff's community. And his only job is to go through there and enforce all the laws. Some of the laws would be like, hey, no drugs. Get caught with drugs, you never get another chance for opportunity like this. Get caught with drugs. First time we send you to the rehab center. No more prisons, we'll just send you to that rehab center. If you make it through there, you'll never get another chance like this. One chance and only one chance. The homeless people, they lose their minds because they don't think anybody cares about them. And they look down on, well, you're homeless, you're a piece of trash. I should just go right by you. Doesn't matter what your race is, doesn't matter if you're white, yellow, red, whatever, you're homeless. It's everyone's problem. But tiny homes could be an answer. Thousands and thousands and thousands of them. People can't afford to pay rent to these big slumlords. I want $3,000 a month. Oh, I don't get it, so I don't rent my place. I tell anybody that's a real estate agent, you're buying homes to rent, if you really wanted to make their money, then let somebody stay there that's good and decent. But nowadays, you don't know who's good and who's decent and who's not without doing a background check, thorough check, reference check. And they should have to pass one other check, too. They should have to have a police department person come up and talk to them about the rules of housing before they ever get into the rules of housing. And they should be inspected every week for the first while. The reason I say that, because they're looking for drugs, they're looking for contraband, they're looking for things to be wrong in a place, because in the first couple weeks of doing that, for a month, there's so many people are taking advantage of this housing. Oh, I have kids. But meanwhile, I've got the hundreds of dollars, I'm scamming the system, I'm pulling shit on fucking people, I've got people living on me that ain't supposed to be there, I've got things that ain't right. And this goes on daily. All about survival for somebody else. Because these people have screwed up their shit. Happens every day. And they're going to lie. They're going to say, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, I wouldn't do that. And they would. But housing doesn't go around checking on these people because they don't have the resources nor the manpower. So we need a special agency of enforcement. It ain't how clean your house is. It's whether you respect the rules of everybody else around you and do the very best you can to be a good person and don't cause problems for people. Don't go out of your way to harass your neighbors. Don't go out of your way to go toward your neighbor's house. Treat everybody with love and respect. Because when you don't, things are bad. Bad. Housing should be fair. You're a single man? Sure, I can see having a one-bedroom apartment. But you shouldn't have to live with bed bugs. You shouldn't have to live with roaches. You shouldn't have to live with people that don't have common sense, people that'll bother you all the time. You're in a low-income housing apartment because maybe you can't afford anything else. Okay, that's cool. But you should still have all the rights to be left alone. And that's what's wrong with people. Everywhere you go, oh, what's this person? What's this person all about? How many times I was bothered up there in housing? People doing stupid shit. I just shook my head and said, fuck this. I did. People beating on your doors all middle hours of the night. People shooting people, or people fucking lighting fires in the goddamn apartment, having alarms go off when you're fucking sleeping. People thinking it's funny to have the fucking cops there like I'm the man. Who in the hell wants to live like that? Having SWAT teams go into houses and saying, well, this person's evil, that other person's evil, and this person didn't listen to me. You know, housing should be fair. Strict guidelines. If you're not smart enough to respect one another, then you don't get into housing. And there should be a class, a school that you should go through for all low-income housing. Once that class and that course is complete, and you're on the low-income housing list, and you're going through it, it'd be a great thing. Because it's kind of like having extra screens and extra monitors, and it's reminding people of what low-income housing is all about. Low-income housing is there to house you. We're going to pay the government subsidies, but you've got to do your part. Respect your neighbors. Respect everyone in the community. You want a good place to live? Great. We're all for that. But if you come in here causing trouble for anyone, you go over there threatening people, you want to have all-night parties because you think because now I'm in low-income housing I can do that. No. Get out. That should be the message. There's so many people out here that want housing, that need it. I'm one of them. I'm one of the few people who have been homeless all across this country. Why am I so anti-shelter? Well, I go into a shelter, they tell me, this is what time you go to bed, this is what time you wake up, this is what time we might feed you. But yet you got to worry about, am I going to get knifed inside that shelter? Am I going to get shot inside that shelter? Am I going to have someone telling me all about Jesus 24 hours a day when all I want to do is get 5 minutes worth of rest and some sleep so I can get up tomorrow and maybe have a good day? Keep you up to 10, 11 o'clock thinking that praying's going to pray your way out of homelessness? Once you're homeless, you're homeless. Prayer is great, but prayer should only be a 5-minute thing. And all the churches should come together and say, okay, well, yeah, we want you to come to our church. Or, hey, we'd like to offer you some services over here. They did that up in Seattle and places where they'd feed you breakfast and you show up to their church and you could have a good day, and it really made the difference. Some of the churches were really great. Some of them not so great. I remember the great ones because I remember saying, hey, there's a church that fed me one time. More than one time. Every Sunday, hey, we'll take out and we'll feed you. We'll help you. Okay, so you got this issue going on, or you got that issue going on. That's what the churches are supposed to be doing. The work of God. Clothing people. Feeding people. Loving people. Finding out financially what people need and trying to get them to hell on with their lives the right way. If they believe in God, teach them about Jesus, and give them hope in a future that they can do better. That's what Jesus was really all about, wasn't it? The anger I feel inside towards these homeless shelters is unreal. Oh, you're homeless because you don't... No, it ain't because they don't have Jesus that I'm homeless. Everybody has a story of why they're homeless. And every story begins with, what did I do not to be homeless? Sometimes we take chances and we go to new places and we wind up homeless. Nothing wrong with that, but at least you got to take a chance. You've got to do better for yourselves. How can we change tomorrow if we can't even change today? Donald Trump, you're out there, and I know that maybe you don't want to watch YouTube or you don't want to listen to people. Everybody says, well, what has Trump done? I think you got an opportunity to do really, really great or really, really bad. Be bold and say, this is what I'm really going to do, and then get it done. And if everybody fights you on it, then call them out. Bring on the political fight. Because I don't think nobody wants to stand toe-to-toe in the ring with you in a political word game and say, hey, I can't do my job because I don't believe in what the president's doing. Well, if you don't believe in what he's doing, then say that. Doesn't mean you have to support him every time, but you should. As long as you know it's the right thing to do when it comes to Social Security. When it comes to helping me, the American people, all of us who live on it. I live on $908 and some dollars a month. Rent anywhere is $1,000. Food is $500 a month, depending. Everybody says, well, help's coming. Really? When everybody feels like, well, when I need to help you. Oh, you poor thing. That's what's wrong with people, is they have forgotten what's really, really, really super important. That's all I've got to say today. Every day we should be growing, learning, and loving the Lord as we love ourselves. Once we do that, everything else is easy because we can bear it. Have a good evening. Good night.